Alright, what's up YouTube? I am back with another video. Pretty excited to take the Aprilia out. I'm pretty much just going to the gym, but before that point, I decided I actually want to kind of do a little bit of a walk around of the bike. Talk a little bit about the bike before we jump on. I think this bike is pretty popular right now actually in the community. I think it's one of those bikes some people want, but they don't really want to take a risk for it. You know, a lot of that stigma around Italian motorcycles and reliability kind of, I think, steered people clear away from this bike. And then also it not being, you know, that true 600 Super Sport for some, you know, might also steer them away. You know, this bike is a parallel twin. You know, it's not a 4-cylinder, so I think some of those little things or little nuances about this bike steer a lot of people away. But this is actually a very, very great bike. I know, you know, that's a lot coming from somebody that's, you know, fairly new at this, but every time I get on this bike, it puts a smile on my face. This bike is actually a 2024. I picked this up pretty much brand new, 0 miles on it. The only miles I got put on it before myself was the person that was testing it out just to make sure it was all good. So I'm gonna do a quick little walk around just of my bike, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the things I've done to it. I'll talk to you all just a little bit about the features of the bike before we actually take the bike out, and then from that point on, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons of this bike, just so, you know, you can kind of make a little bit more of an informed decision, or if you had some thoughts or something like that, you know, you can kind of hear what I have to say. You know, I still recommend doing that research yourself, but at least you can kind of get a good idea of, you know, what it is that you do need to research. So just kind of start now some general features before I get into, you know, my own. But you know, this bike comes with the Brembo brakes, and I think that's a big win for, you know, a lot of folks that, especially that are track enthusiasts. You know, you don't have to do any changes, you don't have to do any modifications. You know, you're getting a bike with Brembos on it. I mean, I know for me, like even for a car, you know, getting a car with the Brembos is extremely exciting. So I'm sure that's pretty exciting for, you know, motorcyclists as well. I definitely want to take this thing out to a track, so I'm pretty excited to be able to do that. You know, you have your adjustable suspension up front and in the rear. Now I know some folks like to actually change out the rear on these. I can't remember the exact reason why. That's something we'll have to kind of dig into a little bit more, but it's something that's actually pretty common to change out. I would say the next key thing, you know, for this being, you know, the bike that it is, being a 660, I think a lot of bikes in that 650 class, like the Ninja 650, I think it's a GSX 8R. So kind of think about that realm. You know, this bike has the clip-ons, which is a pretty cool addition. You know, you don't have to do any modifications to actually add clip-ons to the bike. It has a pretty aggressive riding position already. It's a very happy medium between just being comfortable and being able to kind of go into a full tuck when necessary. So other than that, I mean, that's like I feel like some of the key features that kind of stand out. Like I said earlier, you know, it's a parallel twin. Unfortunately, this is a full-length exhaust, and I'll kind of get into that when I talk about the cons of this bike once we start it up and then we get moving. In terms of, you know, modifications that I've done to this bike, you see I still got the sticker on the windshield. I have a lot of stickers still on here that, you know, I need to take off, but to each his own. So here, the first modification I've done, it wasn't the first one, but it's one of my favorite ones, and it was actually deleting the mirrors. So hear me out, you know, we got the block off plates, but we actually have built-in turn signals on these. Now, it's not the brightest during the day, but it is pretty bright during the night. So just be mindful of that. You know, you can utilize signaling just so that people can see you a little bit better. Just be mindful, you know, when you're behind somebody and you're trying to make a transition. I did retain my rear turn signals, so that's pretty out there. Those are pretty obvious. Those are actually OEM, even though this is a tail tidy kit. And I actually have a mirror for my blind spot right down here. So I really like this one. You can kind of turn it down, flatten it out if you really want to, and then if you don't need it, and if you know, go to a track or something like that, you literally can just use a Allen wrench, pop that thing off, and then you're good to go. Other than that, man, you know, I put this tank pad on here because I noticed my jackets were like scratching the surface right here, and had some really bad stickers, so it took me a really long time to get the sticker residue off of here. And then once I completed it, I cleaned this area up and I put this down. I do have a little issue peeling up on the corners, not the full thing, but just these two corners. No matter what I press down on it, I do just try to need to hit it with a heat gun or something, but not really worried about that. And then I bought this bad boy. I forget what website I bought this off of. So I saw the OEM one. The OEM like rear seat cowl is like $200-$300, and I'm like, I'm not paying $200-$300 for a rear seat cowl, especially if it's just a hunk of plastic. So we got this bad boy for about maybe less than $100, not off of Amazon, but off another site that they put it together. I think it looks pretty sweet. It kind of matches with the bike. That plastic kind of it has a little bit of a different black to it, but I think overall it matches the bike pretty well. Other than that, like I said, I have this tail tidy kit. I forget who I got it from. It's a pretty cheap one. It uses a lot of OEM stuff, and honestly, it's really just like a bracket. Like this one bracket is like really that whole tail tidy kit. I need to change my license plate, but I'll wait for a little bit. And then I actually put these bar ends are, so these are not OEM bar ends, these are like Rhino bar ends. If y'all are interested, I'll link some of that stuff in the description for y'all. If y'all are interested, you know, I'll link some of this stuff in the description for y'all so y'all can do the similar modifications. And then here I have this is actually off of Amazon. It's actually pretty sweet. It was $30. I mean, fully adjustable, you know, very, very solid. It has like soft little ends on it for your phone. Like pretty sweet, pretty happy about that overall. And yeah, that's the bike. We're on the bike now. I was gonna kind of pop through the rider modes just so y'all can see that as one of the unique features about this bike. So there's a lot of adjustability when it comes to the technology in the bike. So you know, when you're kind of doing a basic walk around, you never realize like how much stuff is really going on with this bike. Ignore my cracked phone, it's cooked. So for me, I'm in individual mode. Individual mode is if you're not in race mode and you want the most adjustability, you cannot adjust commute or dynamic. So for this, engine map 1 is actually the most aggressive in terms of the throttle response. You can crank up the engine braking. I believe engine brake 1 as well is like the most aggressive engine brake. You have traction control, so you can turn that on or off. You can turn your wheelie control on or off as well, but you pretty much just get to it by holding that button, and you can turn ABS off. So I got wheelie control off. I have ABS on probably a little bit more of the aggressive setting. Sometimes I usually ride with the ABS off, and then yeah, engine brake and the engine management, I like to have that most throttle response. Pretty accustomed to driving or riding a bike that doesn't have all this technology, so I don't like to just turn it out, crank it all on for myself. You can enter race mode by, it's kind of finicky at first, but you kind of hold it here, hit vehicle, go into race mode, then it has challenge, and then it has time attack. Time attack is pretty much, it gives you the screen of what you can see for what is it called? I don't know. It gives you all your screens that you can see, like your timers and things like that. So now I'm in race mode. You can pretty much see that's challenge. And then this is time attack. Again, challenge. You can adjust time attack. You can fully adjust. If I want to get back out of there, I just hold right on that this D-pad thing, and then I hold right on it again. Go into race, swap that back to road, and then we're good to go. As I mentioned earlier, this is a full-length exhaust, and you can't just like slip on an exhaust on this thing. So it's a little bit. That's a bit of a con for me, you know. Would really like to get to hear the sound of this bike. It sounds pretty good in my opinion, especially for a parallel twin. I just can't justify $2,000 to, you know, $1,000 to $2,000 for a full-length exhaust. It's just not worth it to me. You know, there's minimal performance gains on that, Minimal, when I say minimal, I mean minimal and almost nothing at all. So I just can't justify, you know, having that and spending that money on it. I'd rather spend the money everywhere else on this bike. Look at me sitting with my blinker on. It gets me to my second con on this bike, and I would say it would have to be, I don't have any issue with this, but depending on the area you're in, you might realize that there's no dealerships by you. So if you actually want to work on the bike or get the bike worked on, I should say, you're kind of out of luck. There's no, you don't have anybody. So kind of keep that in mind. You know, you might have to find somebody that just kind of does it on the side. And then again, you know, do you want somebody doing work on your bike outside of your warranty? You probably don't. So yeah, keep that in mind, especially buying this bike new. I'd probably lean more towards used if you feel comfortable working on bikes. Other than that, honestly, I don't really have any personal cons with this bike. You know, reliability is something that comes up a lot, again, with these Italian motorcycles. I haven't had any issues with reliability. Everything's been pretty solid so far. Mind you, I'm only 500 miles in, so I haven't done a whole lot of riding on this bike, but this will probably be my primary bike going forward. Let's just jump straight into the pros. I think the biggest pros in this bike is one, like we kind of showed you the features, the technology, being able to have all that that flexibility in which you can change and which you can adjust. I think is a pretty sweet feature. I like that the bike is just that it's that nice middleman between, you know, being aggressive and being comfortable. Definitely switching up from like riding the Ducati, you know, it feels a lot better on my back. You know, I've been trying to be better about working out and stretching and being more consistent, just so that, you know, I can kind of help myself with my endurance. But definitely the comfort is pretty eye-opening, I would say. I think the next pro that I personally would have with the bike is just, you know, outside of just the general features, I think just some of the hardware that's on the bike already. So, you know, your brakes, your suspension, your adjustable suspension, it kind of gives you a lot to work with starting out, especially for a bike that can really meet the needs of any rider. Hopefully I get a little bit of open road so I can kind of get on it here. And I almost forgot, y'all, the quick shifter, man. I can't believe I almost forgot to tell y'all about the quick shifter, dude. This thing is super sweet. Here we go. Yeah. I apologize for doing this in y'all's residential, man, but got to see it through. Look at that car there. Usually it's pretty quiet over here. Man, dude was about to break his neck looking. That's the other thing about this bike, man. People love looking at this bike. This thing is it's a beauty, you know. That's like I would say that's the other thing, you know, outside of all the other good things I'm saying about this bike is beautiful in terms of appearance. Oh shoot, light turned green. Give it some. Oh, I gotta be careful, man. I'm gonna get lit up by one of these cops one of these days. Why are they out this early? I'm like waiting the day I get lit up on this bike, on a bike in general. All right, man. So we're very close to the gym. We're very close to the gym right now. So I'm gonna probably start closing out the video here soon. But you know, all in all, I think it's a fantastic bike. I think this bike really meets the needs of many different types of riders. You know, whether you're somebody that's a track enthusiast looking for something to absolutely beat on, whether, you know, you're a squid that's trying to, you know, ride up and down the highways, or, you know, if you're just a casual rider, probably like myself, using it to commute, still want to have a little bit of fun. You know, I think it just meets all of those needs. I would definitely highly recommend this bike. I can't say anything else, anything more about it. I think these bikes are still, you can buy them new for about $1,100, I think. I think that's just about where I was at. I was able to kind of talk them down just a little bit. What the thing about buying new bikes is, you know, you really don't have much wiggle room to talk down like you do cars. The prices are fairly consistent across the board, and, you know, honestly, for this thing, you know, I'd highly recommend even buying new, you know, just because I think the used bike market right now isn't in the best of shape. That's why I had to just get out of the market. I just bought something, you know. I wanted to buy something new, something I didn't have to worry about, you know, what was done to the bike beforehand. I could just get on the bike every day, ride the bike with little to no concerns, you know, stay up on the routine maintenance, and, you know, again, like, I know the history of my bike, I know how it's been ridden. I don't have to think about anything else. So I'm gonna hop over here. I'd love to just kind of do, but that's not gonna happen. Oh man, that auto blip is so nice. Oh man, y'all are just driving extremely slow this morning, man. Let's go. Let's get moving. Man, who you were on this break? I think another final closing comment before, you know, I really drop this video is, you know, I think in comparison to the 600s, 600 bikes, you know, this bike is very unique in its characteristics. Like, when you're making the choice of what bike you want, you really need to find a bike that meets the characteristics and the use that you want, right? But this bike makes a lot of power on the low end because it has so much torque. And, you know, I think that's the thing that separates this bike, is it's really good on the street. You know, it still gets up, you know, over that, I would say that over that 8K threshold, I believe, is when you start getting into really getting into the power band. But you know it, you know, you feel the shift in the bike, you feel it in the low end, you get that instant feedback when you twist the throttle, and then when you get onto the, you know, you start getting up into the revs, you really feel the difference. You really feel that increase in power. It's not lagging or anything like that. So it's a pretty exciting bike to ride. But yeah, we just made it to the gym. I'm gonna park here, and we're gonna pretty much close out the video. So appreciate y'all for tuning in to the channel. I hope y'all enjoy this video, and definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe. Again, my goal is to post each week. I'm a little bit behind this week, but we're gonna get on it.